Welcome to Sisters Inc., our podcast for and about women business owners, brought to you by Black Enterprise. I'm your host, Elisa Gums. Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in America. And on every episode of Sisters Inc., we'll sit down with one successful CEO and share how she slays the challenges of being a Black woman in business. Today's episode is all about using events to build your business. We're chatting with the queen of natural hair, Taliah Waajid, founder of the Taliah Waajid brand and the World Natural Hair Show. Welcome to Sisters Inc., Taliah, and thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me.
You've been in the business of natural hair since you were 14. Take us back to the beginnings of your passion for natural hair.
So it all started when my mother wouldn't allow me to get a relaxer. I begged her and begged her. So this is back when like 99.9% of people wore relaxers, even children. And so all my friends had one and I wanted one, and she just refused. Said, no, God wants you to have straight hair, would have gave it to you. So figure it out. And luckily, I have always been very creative. I used to sew and just play with my doll's hair. So I just played in my hair until I figured it out. And one thing that I figured out is that I would take a lot of just products around the house, like lotions and creams and even Vaseline, just to put it on the hair, just to see what would make it easier to comb. And one thing I remember, my mom used to say when she shampooed my hair, you better hurry up and get over here because when it gets dry, you're gonna, it's just gonna be bad or something, it's gonna hurt or something. And so one day I didn't do it, and I let it dry, and it was the worst thing. So I understood that the hair needs moisture in order to make it easier to comb. And that's why my mother wanted me to, after I shampoo it, stop running around the house, come on over here and let me comb your hair. So that was really my introduction to my love of natural hair. After I started playing with my hair and I really got to know it, I knew what it did when it rained outside. I knew what it did when it was too hot or too cold. And I really formed a relationship with my hair and became to really like my hair. I didn't care about the girls with the relaxers because I was able to, take grease and make some really cute hairstyles. And they were looking at me like, oh, wow, how do you get your hair like that? But they couldn't get their hair like that because it was relaxed. So that was my love for it. And once I found out that this hair was not as bad as we were told it was, I wanted everybody else to know, so I started, seeing whose hair I could play in and, so that was my introduction and my love.
You're almost like a natural hair prodigy to think that, at the age of 14, people would, pay you to do their hair or consult with you to do their hair. So you eventually became a natural hair care master stylist. And in 1996, you created the very first complete line of natural chemical-free products made for natural chemical-free hair. It's not like today where there's an entire ecosystem for natural hair. You were really a pioneer. Did you worry at that time about whether the market would support it?
No, at that time, well, when I first started the product line, I wasn't really worried because really natural hair is the only way that I've been able to earn money my whole life. I did take a little stint. I went and got a job being an executive secretary. I went to school for that because you were told that, you want a good job, you go to school, get a good job, and you're good for life. So that was embedded in my head. But I learned that I wanted to do what I loved, and I loved doing hair. And so I wasn't really concerned about, the market at that time because I had a slew of customers and they were buying my products. And I had salons that were buying my products. And my goal was to get all the salons to buy the products and resell it. I would teach them how to resell the products to their customers. And it went okay for a minute, but then I found my phone was ringing like crazy because the stylists were not replenishing. And so I had to ship to them. And I said, wait a minute, I can't do this. So that's what made me say, okay, I need to see how I can get this product in the store, in the stores. And yeah, that's when my concern came. Only when I went to do it, I saw so much pushback. And I'm the type of person, if you tell me no, that my next question is why. And it better be a good answer, because if it's not, I'm just going to keep asking again, asking again. We're going to make this happen until you make me see a really reasonable reason why I shouldn't do it. And there wasn't any, because I had a slew of customers that were wearing their hair natural. They wanted it natural. It was growing. I was educating stylists on educating their customers. So it was just growing and growing. And I would go in the stores and I'll see a section for relaxers. I see a section for hair color. I just felt like there should be a section for people that want to wear natural hair in these stores. And that was my goal, just to, educate the retailers and educate the OTC store owners on just the benefits of having this product, and that there's a customer that really wants this. They didn't believe it, because at that time, like I said, 99.9% of women were wearing relaxers, and that's how everybody in the hair business, black hair business, made money off of relaxers. So they didn't even know about this other thing that was going on with natural hair.
Yeah, as you just said, you started this when there wasn't even a category
No.
in the stores. And so many entrepreneurs who have a product, they figured out something that works on themselves or their family members, they get stuck like right at that point between, having a product that works but getting it onto the retail
Mm-hmm.
shelves. You got yours into beauty stores, you then expanded into other retail. Like, what was that process like for you, having to not just like sell people on you as a businesswoman or your products, but on the fact that these products were even needed in the first place?
It was very hard, and it was disappointing that they just didn't understand it, and they couldn't see it, and sometimes they just didn't want to see it. They just shut down. I remember even when I went to find a chemist to help formulate my first collection, all of the chemists, they just, everything that I talked to them about, it always turned around to how we can straighten the hair, how we can make this product straighten the hair. They just could not connect that that's not what I want. I don't want it to straighten the hair. There are people that want their hair like this. And so it's the same conversation when I got to the retailers and to the beauty supply store owners. And it was just difficult. It was a difficult challenge, but you know, I wasn't going to stop. And I eventually got my products on the shelf in the beauty supply stores, and they saw that they were selling, and then it just, went on from there.
Let's talk about the World Natural Hair Show. The tagline is, "It's not a hair show, it's a cultural movement."
Yes.
So tell us what the event includes and what the purpose of the event is.
So the purpose of the event goes back to, when there were no products on the shelf, right, for natural hair. And I just felt that it was important to have not just me on the shelf. I wanted a whole section, like the relaxers and the color. So I just felt like it should be a whole, it should be a place where people that are interested in wearing their hair natural, they don't understand it, people that are selling natural products, people that are considering going natural, people that are not even natural, they just know people that are natural. I just wanted it to be one place where everybody comes, like a watering hole, so you can come there and get everything you need. Stylists can take workshops and classes and be educated. um, Consumers can see the latest products that are available. And because I knew that once we got on the shelf, once it became a category, it was going to be a thing. And one of my most important things about it is that I wanted it to stay on a level of professionalism, and I wanted people to look at it in awe, like, wow, that's really beautiful. This is great. Not like, oh, those people over there, wear their hair like that, because there was a time when it was like that. We just, those are the militant people. Those are the people that want to go back to Africa. Those are the Black Power people. And it was some of those, of course, but the person that wears their hair natural is anybody. And that's what I wanted people to see with this show. Is whoever wants to do it, or if you don't, but I wanted you to see natural hair on a high level, high quality level, professionalism, beautiful the way that it is, and just have a slew of information available for people that just didn't know, want to have questions on any level. So yeah.
Yeah. And the scope of the event now, like tell us some of the things that it includes, because it really is so much more than a hair show.
It is. Well, you know what? To go back, it started out as just a hair show. I think when we first started, it was in a ballroom in a hotel, a small ballroom. I think maybe vendors, if even that many, 25 and like 100 people or something. And these were the Black Power, let's go back to Africa people, because that's all I could get back then. And so I had the task of, just merging, general, I don't, they call them general market people, but just, I don't know, I don't want to say regular people, but the masses, right? The task of mixing the masses with, just the core people that wanted to do the show.
So tell us about some of the things that the show includes
Mm-hmm.
because, as you said, it's not just a hair show, there's so much more.
Yes, there is so much more. It is. It started out as a hair show, regular hair show, and what we would do at the show was show beautiful hairstyles. We always had like a little health element there because I believe if you're going to start looking at your hair being natural, you're automatically going to start looking at what am I putting into my body, and so with those two things, that was the start of it. So every year, like after the show, I would meet people that say, "Oh my God, this show has changed my life. I'm eating differently now. I went natural. I'm not putting chemicals in my hair." It's just it evolved from there, from a person just coming to the show to see what the new hairstyle was, to being able to say, "Well, okay, I decided to go natural. How else can I improve my life? How else can I improve what I'm putting in my body, and just be natural all around?" And so that's when the health element started getting larger and larger. And so when I see people coming together, I'm always thinking, how can we make this even more of an event where people walk away with something that has improved their life? So I started adding other elements as far as the workshops, and not just for professionals, but workshops for consumers that um, may be interested in parenting, maybe interested in finance, home buying, just things that are needed in the community. And from there, just other little elements started coming, together in the show. So the show really has something for everybody. We have a huge men's section. It's called the Men's Den. So we have men's grooming products there. We have the barbers there. We have a big kids section. The kids corner, or the children's corner, it's just everything. It's a family event, and it's something there for everybody. It's something that can touch your lifestyle. Any part of your lifestyle is there at the show. So yeah, so that's how it kind of morphed into this lifestyle thing. Oh, and we just added the Women of Color in Business Summit last year at the show. That was our first year of doing it. Prudential sponsored it, and it was phenomenal. And so this year we came back. We're doing it. We have Wells Fargo sponsoring it. We have Charles Schwab and Walmart has come in to be a sponsor as well. And so we have a lineup of founders. We have a lineup of financial organizations that can help with lending, help with gaining capital, and not just getting capital, because there's so many ways to get capital. People approach businesses all the time about, oh, how can I give you more capital? It's more important to know how to position yourself properly for when you sit at that table, because there's money everywhere. It's no problem with getting money because people want to give it to you, but is this a good deal for me? So that's really one of my passions, making sure that these smaller companies that are coming up that don't really understand business, and just the things that and that's how I was growing. I didn't understand anything, so I would have got caught out there when I was younger, because I didn't understand business. I knew how to make money. And for most of us, black people, we know how to make some money. We're going to earn a living some kind of way. It's just that level of it's just getting to the next levels in business, and it really takes having a strong foundation of business and a good understanding of just the things in business that a lot of times when you're making so much money, you don't even think about, because the money's coming in. What is my profit margin? Is this a good deal for me? So those are the kind of things that we talk about at the Women of Color in Business Summit. And that's the Thursday before the weekend of the show. That's April the 20th. So yeah, we're always adding something new. We're just trying to capture everything that, can touch your life in a positive way and just put it into the show weekend. So soon it's going to be a show week. Then it's going to be a show month.
Big plans, huh?
Yeah, big plans.
So you mentioned that in the early days, you had to do a lot of education. You had
Mm-hmm.
to educate, people in general on the market for natural hair. You had to educate consumers,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to educate other stylists. So, education has clearly been a big part of the event. What are some of the other ways that the event benefits the brand?
Oh, so the event gives us a chance to really show out. It's that annual time, and we're not the only ones to show out. These competitors come through. I mean, they come through. Their booths are beautiful. They're ready. So it gives you a chance to really get in front of the consumer, talk to them about what you have new that's coming up, any questions they may have had about your brand. We get a chance to answer them there. We touch, feel. They get to really uh, feel what the brand is about. They're talking to the people that represent the brand. I'm there talking to them. So it really gives me a chance to have a closer connection with the consumers that are purchasing our products. So yeah, I say for the brand, it gives us a lot of extra exposure, and it gives us a chance to really communicate face to face with our customers.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it also lets the community know that you're there, that you care about
Oh
them.
yeah, definitely, definitely that we're pouring back into the community. Yes, definitely.
And I would imagine it's like, a really fertile testing ground for you to hear directly from your customers
Yeah.
about what they want, what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and to try some new things out on them.
Yeah, definitely. And we're doing here right there on the spot. They're trying new products. We have our professional stylists there giving them free consultations, talking to them about, maybe the hair issues or just questions they have about hair and our products.
Okay. The scale that this event has reached is huge. You said you started in one ballroom,
Mm-hmm.
more than 20 years ago as just a hair show. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's a 2-day weekend. You have more than 35 workshops, more than 300 vendors, and 30,000 attendees that come in over the course of the weekend, making this the largest event celebrating natural beauty. Did you have an intentional strategy to grow the event to this size?
Yes, I did. And I have a strategy to grow it larger as well. So yes, and not so much larger, just have more information there, more things to benefit people in the community. And if once we have those things in place, they're going to come anyway. So yeah, that's my main goal. Has always been to give a quality event. That people will benefit. They can walk away with something that poured added to their life. Mhm.
Yeah. Can you share some of the tactics that have worked for you over the years in terms of growing the event?
If I share those, I have to kill you. No.
You can share one, I'm sure, just one.
Okay, I would say, yeah. So this is, I'm just yeah, because this is very important for anyone that's doing an event. Anyone that's really doing anything, you can carry this through a lot of things that you do. Um, Never settle. No matter how great whatever you're doing is, just don't settle on that. There's always ways that you can make it better, especially if you're serving customers and you're serving the community. You always want to tap into what they need. Even though you thought it was great, you're having a great time, the money's coming in, so you saw it, it was a great event, people came, okay, it's over now. What are you going to do next year? How are you going to make this even more impactful and more enjoyable for the people that come next year? This show has been around so long because I think of that mindset that I have. I don't settle. I don't, just get cocky and conceited about things. We've had some really great events, really great. But if you want to be around as long as we've been around and still be relevant and have young people want to come to your event, you got to tap in. You got to tap into everybody that you want to come there and make sure that you're trying to have something that's appealing to them. And it's not easy because I'm I'm a lot older than these these young people now, these consumers. So trying to figure out how they think, how they talk, what they want, that's a whole experience. I need a class, but But you have to at least attempt, to tap in. And a lot of times, as you get older, we didn't do that. We didn't do that back then. We didn't have to do. Okay, we're not back then anymore. We're here, so you need to tap in. So that's a secret that I will share, and you can take that,
Okay.
not
What
just
do you think
everything you do. Mhm.
what do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned about putting on a great event over these 2 decades of doing it?
The greatest lesson. Um, greatest lesson I've learned. I don't know. Let me see. I learned so many lessons. The greatest lesson. I, I would just say, just be open minded. Just be open minded. I would say, which is pretty much what I just said. Yeah, that's what I would say would be the biggest lesson that I've learned. But I wouldn't say it's a lesson because I've always been like that about pretty much everything that I do. Um, I know there's a lot of little lessons I can say that that I've learned. I don't know, but I'll get back with you on
Yeah.
that one.
I mean, that's a real
Mhm,
lesson though. Like being
mhm.
adaptable, being
Yeah.
flexible is so important for a business
Hmm.
owner. And you talked about the fact that so many people get stuck on what they used to do back
Yeah.
then, or that they had a great event and they don't look toward the future, especially of renewing the pipeline of younger attendees. That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
that is. It really is. Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would do differently, starting this event, knowing what you know now?
Differently. I would say no because it was not easy doing this. I used to cry every year, like you're not coming. We're the people. They don't understand. They don't get it. And I was saying I wouldn't trade those things. I feel like I needed to go through all of the challenges. I needed to go through that because those are the things that made me learn. I'm sure there was a lesson in all of the failures and all the things, the challenges. Um, Differently, no, I made a lot of mistakes. I still make them, and I'm still gonna make some more. But I think that with this show, the things that really irritated me, that aggravated me, I really think that I needed to go through those things. I think that, so I don't think I would do anything differently. You know, but no.
You mentioned the Women of
Hmm.
Color in Business Summit is part of the show. And of course, you're not only a longtime entrepreneur yourself and a very successful one, but one who has helped develop and support many other women entrepreneurs over the years. So before you go, I have to ask your best advice for the women entrepreneurs out there who are listening to us right
Know
now.
your numbers. I'll leave it at that. Know your numbers. Whatever you do, know your numbers. And you don't have to be really good at math, but just try to understand. If you can count money, you can figure out what you need to know about, the fundamentals of business. And if you don't, you know, feel real comfortable with, I wasn't really comfortable. It took me a long time to really sit down and say, okay, let me figure this out. Let me just do this because this is what I'm going to do. I don't want to keep losing money. So just know your numbers and get people around you that know your numbers, that can explain them to you. Get a mentor that's been successful in what you are doing. That's what I would say. Get a mentor that's been successful with what it is that you're doing or what you're trying to do. And talk to them about those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Taliah, for sharing your small
Thank
business
you.
success story. Everyone out there, please take a look at the company website, naturalhair.org, and the website for the World Natural Hair Health and Beauty Weekend, which is naturalhairshow.org. You can also follow Taliah and the brand on Facebook and Twitter at Taliah Waajid. That's
Mm-hmm.
TaliahWaajid, or on Instagram at Taliah Waajid Brand. Check out the podcast channel on blackenterprise.com to find Sisters Inc. and other podcasts from Black Enterprise editors, writers, and experts. Be sure to subscribe to Sisters Inc. on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And if you like what you hear, show us some love by leaving a 5-star review or put a sister on by spreading the word. I'm Elisa Gums with Sisters Inc. for Black Enterprise. Thank you for listening.